Being a CEO today requires navigating some of the most complex technological and financial disruptions in a generation. Earlier this year, KPMG teamed up with Forbes Insights to ask more than 400 CEOs about challenges and opportunities they face for growth in the coming 3 years. In this video, we take a look at the results of that study with a special look at how the CEOs questioned are integrating innovation into their strategies. Although optimistic about the future, CEOs today are not blithe about the challenges they face. 90% of surveyed CEOs said that they were concerned with competitors, both incumbents and new entrants, taking business away from them. 72%, meanwhile, worried about whether their product or service would be relevant in 3 years. Finally, 59% were nervous about startups disrupting their business model. These fears are not without justification. Just a few short years ago, hotels wouldn't have imagined having to compete with private citizens renting out their spare rooms. But Airbnb has become a force, doubling the numbers of available listings every year to some 550,000 rooms as of this July. Grocery stores as well probably didn't anticipate the massive uptick in companies shipping fresh, prepped ingredients to people's homes as an alternative to regular shopping. Yet today, Blue Apron sends 1 million meals to homes monthly, and venture capitalists have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into the space. And then there's Uber. Since Uber launched in San Francisco, regular taxi service has shrunk by 65%. The startup, meanwhile, is already carrying more riders than SF taxis did even at their peak. These are just some of the examples of why Insight predicts that 75% of the S&P 500 will be replaced by 2027, and why the CEOs surveyed are suiting up for innovation in a transformed era. In the KPMG study, the CEO of WellPoint made the interesting observation that the impact of companies like Uber and Amazon wasn't just within their specific industry verticals. Instead, these companies had changed what people expected out of customer service in general. To address these changes, CEOs are driving their companies to be more innovative and more customer-centric than ever before. 17% of companies surveyed overall have instituted formal innovation processes. That number jumps to 47% for the largest companies with revenue above $10 billion. What's more, a full 73% are at various stages of planning to implement a process. The changing Silicon Valley landscape reflects the corporate innovation imperative. In the last year, corporations like McDonald's, Wells Fargo, and Target have started accelerators and brand labs in and around San Francisco to tap into the tech ecosystem. Overall, 17% of venture deals in 2014 have included a corporate participant, the highest since 2004. M&A is also a strategy for growth. Today, most of the CEOs surveyed are pursuing organic growth, but anticipate an increase in M&A activity in the next 3 years. Moreover, the largest companies surveyed were far more likely to be evenly split between acquisitions and organic initiatives as drivers of growth. Acquisitions are taking on a larger role as today's leaders look to startups as gateways to new industries and new customer behaviors. Nordstrom, for example, acquired Trunk Club as a way to access a new male consumer who would rather try on clothes in the privacy of his home. Google, meanwhile, scooped up the Nest thermostat to seed the team who would build their connected device strategy. Even Facebook has been extremely aggressive in buying companies to retain leadership in areas where its core product can't compete. Both Instagram and WhatsApp were acquired to make sure they didn't lose in the global mobile battle, while the acquisition of the Oculus Rift virtual reality platform represents a gambit about the future of computing more broadly. When all is said and done, the survey's most important conclusion is simple. For CEOs, it's transform or perish. In today's market landscape, there are simply too many new competitors and too many forces changing the consumer experience to stick to the same playbook that worked before. To read more about how CEOs are looking at the next 3 years, download the full Forbes Insights report, Setting the Course for Growth, CEO Perspectives.